might have to refresh it.
There we go. I did refresh a couple times. My phone's not being too today. I just have to go with it because my phone.
Hey Isaiah, is the words backwards? Let us know. Isaiah's watching.
Yes, the backwards.
They are backwards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the backwards. Welcome to another episode of Do You Really Know God? This episode, the episode is gonna be called
The importance of understanding the Bible.
The Bible is a very key aspect to the afterlife. So we want to explain the importance of why you should know it. Read it preferably yourself, but I know this day and age a lot of people don't read, so there's other options, whether it's audiobook, going to a church, Bible studies, multiple different ways.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with Micah 7:7. But as for me, I watch and hope for the Lord. I wait for God, my Savior. My God will hear me. That is so true in so many different ways. The reason why we're going to talk about the Bible is because the Bible explains what you have to do to get to heaven.
Yeah.
There is no gray area. There's no side road to it. It's pretty well cut and dry. And it also gives you a lot of instances over the years of how helpful God can be and how forgiving He can be. I hear a lot of people talk about some of the bad stuff that happens in life and how can God be so cruel. Where technically not everything that happens is God's doing, as far as cruelness and that. You got the devil at work, but
Yeah.
also there are times when God is stern and gives us punishments.
Yeah.
We as people, we're discussing very sinful people. So, like any parent, your kid being a little hateful brat, you're going to discipline them from time to time. But God's also done so much good to people who did not deserve God's blessings, but God gave His blessings over the years to sinful people. And a lot that you read in the Bible, it will tell you how sinful these people are, and yet God still helped them. Right there is proof that you can do bad and still go to heaven.
Look at Simon.
Look at Simon, 100%.
Look at any of the followers of Jesus.
Look at David, King David, King Saul. Look at Abraham, Moses. They all had some pretty good sins on the plates. I mean, you got King David. He committed adultery. Then the person he committed adultery with, he killed her husband in murder. And yet God still pursued him and forgave him. There is so much that God has done to help humanity and to help people themselves. I go to church and I hear churches say that, oh, you commit sin, you're going to hell. It's not necessarily true. You commit sin, you can be forgiven. And Jesus came to earth as God's son, and he had his followers, his disciples, and you got to think about it. All his disciples were big sinners.
Yeah.
Of some shape or form. He chose them. He could have came down and chosen righteous people who do not create a lot of sin. He did not. He chose the sinful people. He went into towns and healed sinful people. He healed the hookers. He healed the thieves, the lepers. He basically went and to all people, and it didn't matter. He healed them so long as you're willing to change your ways and stop going in the name of God.
Yeah.
But the Bible tells you a lot about a lot of different things, including the end of time. The Bible talks in very depth in book of Revelations about the rapture and about the end times.
Yeah.
It gives some pretty deep content about what to look forward to in the end times, what to look forward to in hell.
And by look forward, we don't mean.
Yeah,
Don't look forward to it.
don't look forward to it,
but know it is in the future.
Certain that if you don't follow God, what could happen and what it looks like to go.
Yeah.
He also talks in the Bible a lot about the beginning of time, how the earth was created, how things evolved, and everything that in between.
Well, one thing is, the Bible is one of, if not the most important thing you need to go to heaven. It is the one thing, if you don't go to church, if you don't go to church, you don't surround yourself with godly people and whatever. If you have a Bible and you follow the Bible, you're still getting into heaven.
Yeah.
The Bible is one of those things where, like, you can not have a Bible and not go to church and still have a relationship with God, but the Bible is what tells you how to follow God. The Bible is really like an employee handbook.
Yeah, or a shortcut. I think of the Bible as, you get thrown into a big city. Never been there before. Somebody puts you in another city, drops you off, and says, find your way out.
Yeah.
Is it easier to find your way out on your own? You probably can do it.
Yeah.
Or is it easier if somebody gave you a map so you could follow the map to get out? That's the difference between with or without the Bible. You can go to heaven and have a good relationship with God or whatever we need to do to get to heaven without the Bible. But it's a lot harder.
The Bible is the key.
It's the roadmap. It's going to teach you the easy ways around.
Yeah.
It'll help you through some of this life torments. Like one of the things that I've always preached by, and it's a very hard thing to do, but it's the truth. It says right in the Bible, take all your stresses, all your burdens, and all your troubles and give them to me, and I will see them through. Meaning, give them to God. Give everything to God, and He'll help you through. It's very hard to do sometimes, but when you do it, it's a big relief off your shoulder. There's a lot of stuff that can, well, just be like, oh, really? That wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
He will also, you learn very much so about God's timing. God's going to give you what you need, not what you want. And His timing is everything. And He will get you through what you need to get through in life. And things that you may think is a hard hurdle, if you know the Bible and know God, you get through it a lot easier.
Yeah.
He teaches you how to go through the storm. Because you got to understand, sometimes in life, the storm is for your protection. You're going through the storm because your enemies can't swim.
Well, you know, and I know you're going to love this, but the point you're trying to make, I think, is really best summed up by the song "The Dance."
Yep.
By Garth Brooks.
I love that song.
I knew you would like that analogy. The song "The Dance" is almost like a breakup ballad type song, I would say.
Breakup, death, being the curse.
Yeah, it's a ballad song. And what it all is it's very slow. It's very carefully written, and the whole song is a metaphor for a journey. And what I can't remember exactly word for word, we might have to look it up, but the chorus goes something to the effect of, our lives are better left to chance, I could have missed the pain, but I would have had to miss the dance.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I think you're trying to drive home with.
Well, basically, yeah.
With the leaving your stresses is like, yeah, it would be great to live a stress-free life. It would be 100%, great to just walk around and not have to care about anything, not have to worry about bills, or not have to worry about kids, or not have to worry about, X, Y, and Z, whatever you got going on stressing your mind. But you know what? That's what builds your character, and that's what I've always been. I've lived by this for the longest time. Is bad experiences make the best stories. Like, one of the things, and I used to use this in campouts all the time when I was a senior patrol leader, and my scouts were all complaining and saying, "Oh, this campout sucks," blah blah blah. Yeah, this campout sucks, but you know what? I couldn't tell you about a single good campout I ever had because I don't remember it. But I do remember the time where we did an Arctic Fox campout, which was one specifically my troop in Connecticut did, where we built our own shelter in the snow and stayed the night, or stayed 2 nights, and we 100% we built our own shelter in the snow and had to deal with it. How we dealt with it, obviously, the scoutmasters would make sure we didn't die and stuff like that. But for the most part, if you built a bad shelter, you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I remember one time me and a bunch of my buddies had a great idea. There was about 5 or 6 of us, and we built a shelter that was only big enough to fit about 3 people. And we thought we could all cram in there and have our body heat warm us. Sounds like a great idea, but when you're building your shelter out of sticks and pine leaves, and the simplest bump will knock it over, it's not that great of an idea to squeeze in there. And I remember this one camp out, and this is what I used for them too, is it was my second Arctic Fox, and we had this idea, so we started building it. It was actually very structurally sound. We did a good job because it was 6 people working on one shelter. And we built it small. Well, we went on and did whatever we had to do the rest of the day. That night we came in, we set up our stuff, and I personally, my head was at the door. My head wasn't at the door. My head was at a hole that we missed and we didn't cover up. So all night I was getting that cold wind blowing in right at my head, and I was freezing. I didn't sleep well that night. I had a buddy, Josh. He was right in the middle. He was perfect. He slept like a baby. But who got the worst of it was another buddy of mine, Doug. He slept, and he didn't complain, nothing. He slept all night outside with his head outside of the shelter. His head was peeking out of the door. And it rained that night. And it snowed a little bit that night. I think there might have been a little hail. We woke up in the morning and we're all getting ready. We're getting dressed. I looked at him. He legit, like, you know cartoons, you have like icicles hanging from your nose? He legitimately had that. Like, we had to take him to the hospital for frostbite. Like, it was bad. But you know what? That's what makes the best stories.
It does.
And that's what I've always, that's why I say, and I agree with you, give all your stresses to God, because yeah, it's going to suck. Embrace the suck. No matter what, it's going to happen.
But the Bible, reading the Bible or knowing the Bible, they're going to take you in the directions to make it that less painful. That much less painful. Yeah. And the other thing, too, is kind of the reason why I want to go with knowing the Bible over reading the Bible. Because there's a difference between knowing the Bible and reading the Bible.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because I do know people who've read the Bible cover to cover, but they did not comprehend any part of it. So they got nothing out of reading it.
I'm one of those. I didn't read it cover to cover, but anytime I read the Bible, I'll get in my mood. I'll get determined. Like, I'm going to read the Bible, and it's going to take me X amount of time. So I'll read a few chapters a night or something like that. And then I'll get about halfway through Genesis, and I'll be like, wait, how did this story start? And I'll go back.
A lot of people, they don't comprehend it. So you need to learn someplace to get somebody to help you comprehend it if you can't go on your own reading it. Whether it's with Bible study or reaching out to somebody and just talking about it. Like, I love it when Mr. Anderson, which we're going to have as our guest host eventually on here, comes here, because he's a pastor, and me and him have some pretty deep Bible conversations some days. And it's funny because he is a pastor, so...
He is?
Yes. So I learned some stuff off of him, but there's times when I'll teach him something, because it doesn't matter what stage you are as far as in the church, pastor, minister, deacon, whatever. There's always room to grow, and there's always stuff that you missed when you read the Bible or learned the Bible. We all learn in the Bible, and you're going to learn the Bible right to the day you die.
Yeah.
But the thing is we're always learning. So learn about the Bible, because it gives us easier paths to go. It don't give us a straightforward... I mean, life itself, trying to live life itself is hard enough. But trying to live it in a godly manner without knowing what God is expecting of you is even harder. It's like being stuck in the middle of that city with no roadmap to get out. Yeah, eventually you're going to find your way out of the city. But it's not really going to be that easy. You're going to have all kinds of obstacles. You might take a wrong turn and walk into a river.
And it's also the difference of, yeah, you may get out of the city, but like you said, how fast will you get out of the city? But the second point is, yeah, you'll get out of the city, but will you know where you're at after the city?
Exactly. Are you going in the right direction out of the city?
Exactly.
And that's where the Bible takes us into the right direction towards God. The one thing that I will stress a lot, and I talk to a lot of people, a lot of pastors will tell you, God is not going to send you to hell. He will never send anybody to hell. God does not send anybody to hell. He welcomes everybody into heaven. But there's certain things you got to do to get there. Yes. What's going to happen, though, if you don't take the right path, you're going to walk yourself to hell. You're going to bring yourself to hell. God didn't put you there. You're going to put yourself there. God has given you the answers to get to Him. He's given you the directions to get to Him. The hard part about this whole thing is that path to hell is wide. It's very big and it's wide. Yeah. Path to heaven is very narrow. So it's easy to miss. And that's where the Bible will help you get to where you need to go and onto the right direction.
Yeah.
In the Bible, there are so many stories and different things. There's a big change and difference from the Old Testament to the New Testament. New Testament is a lot with the disciples saying what Jesus taught them.
Yeah.
And
New Testament is mainly the story of Jesus.
Yes. And it will teach you, because the story of Jesus is the new way to heaven.
Yeah.
Because Jesus is the only way to heaven.
It's almost like, now I don't know if there's any musicians watching, but it's almost like you have this great idea for a song, right? You have the instrumental all set and you're working on the lyrics, and let's say your song, you want it to be about getting a new girlfriend or something, right? Like you just met this girl, blah, 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 love song, right? And then all of a sudden you take, I don't want to say take a break, but you shift and you have a new understanding in yourself. And now, instead of writing a song about getting a new girlfriend, you change the song halfway through into a song about how great your day was.
Yeah.
And there's still the same kind of feel song. There's still kind of the same element, but God just kind of shifted it, almost like Bohemian Rhapsody for Queen.
Yeah.
You know, Bohemian Rhapsody starts really slow and it's talking about this poor boy who killed someone and he's going to jail and he's on death row and everything. And then all of a sudden, it goes quiet for a minute and it goes boom, back in your face. Yeah. And then now the rest of the song is like it went from a slow ballad to a kiss song.
Yeah, had headbanging rock song.
Right, like a Guns N' Roses type song.
But the thing is what we're getting to is Jesus, God didn't change the Bible. What he did, he gave us an easier way to look at it. Easier light to look at. Because basically, the Old Testament told you ways to live, told you what sins are and how to get through sins and how to be forgiven on sins. Then, when we were not understanding as people and we were still messing up left and right, God realized that was not working because we're not intelligent enough to go to where we need to go and follow the rules that we need to follow.
Yeah.
That's when he said, you know what, I'll give you a last chance.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my son on the earth. He's going to teach you the way to love and to live and to make it to heaven. And then you're going to kill him and crucify him on a criminal's cross. But he's not going to just die peacefully. He's going to let death think it won and let the devil think he won. But then 3 days later, he's going to be resurrected with your sins in his hand. So now, basically, the way to heaven is through Jesus Christ. And it's so easy to get there.
Yeah.
He basically took something that was, I put it like this. The Old Testament is kind of like trying to learn physics a little bit. You know, if you do this, you can't go here. But if you do this, now we can fix it back to here. And ways around to basically a toddler's game where basically follow this guy, do what he says, you're in. Done. There's no more puzzles to the pieces.
Yeah.
There's a direct light. Basically, you know Jesus, you love Jesus, spread the word of Jesus, you're going to heaven. Pretty cut, dry, simple.
Yeah.
Not, hey, you're a sinner, you committed murder, so now you're going to go ask forgiveness from the people, your family that you murdered, and then you got to repent, and you got to do all this stuff that you're like, holy cow, what do I got to do? And hey, you know what? I love Jesus. I will follow Jesus. I will repent my sins. And I will love my neighbors and forgive those who trespass on me.
But that's also why knowing the Bible is so important. Because Jesus is not walking on this earth anymore. Jesus is no longer physically with us. So, like you said, it's a toddler's game. Go follow this person, do what they say, blah, blah, blah. You'll make it there. We can't do that anymore, aside from through the Bible.
Yes.
And that's why knowing the Bible is so important. It's not follow a person anymore. It's, hey, read this.
What he did, you need to follow.
Yeah, read this. This is what he did. Go ahead.
And know what he did for you.
Yeah.
Because that is the most important part of the Bible, is knowing what Jesus actually did for you.
Yeah.
Because what he did for you
and what God did for you. Yeah.
It is the most amazing thing you could ever imagine. I mean, think about this: would you basically sacrifice yourself in a most horrible, horrific death you can imagine to save a group of people you don't even know?
Yeah. And you're never
people
gonna
hate you.
Yeah.
Some of them hate you, and you're giving them a way to be saved.
And I just lost my train.
I hate it when I do that. I did that yesterday, pretty good. So.
Oh, I got it. All right. I know this is the most played out thing, at least from my experiences, when it comes to churches and pastors. But not only what Jesus did for you, what God did for you. God gave his only son and crucified him on a criminal's cross, even though his son was the closest thing to perfect you could get, if not already perfect. And he was literally the perfect son. And God was just kind of like, all right, now you're going to go die on a cross.
Yes.
You're going to be sat there. And
you're going to be crucified and die in a way that we kill criminals. The
Yeah.
most hardened criminals out there.
Yeah. And
you're going to like it.
Yeah, you're not going to complain. Just do it. And, but one thing that actually I wanted to bring this up to you. Me and Isaiah were out there talking about podcast ideas and stuff like that. And so you all know, and so you can all be educated, go watch The Chosen.
Yes.
Because Dad is the biggest advocate for it. And soon, we may be doing a podcast episode strictly on The Chosen.
That'd be nice.
Because I want to say, we've been doing this podcast for it's got to be over 100 episodes by now. I lost count. But Dad started watching The Chosen probably episode 30-something. And he's brought it up almost every episode since. And even to normal people, like he just had me talking to Mr. Anderson, what was it, Tuesday?
Tuesday.
About how good The Chosen is, and you know.
He never heard of it yet, so.
Yes, really. Yes.
What's that?
Judy
Reeks?
Yeah, Judy Reeks said, really? Yes, we will do an episode on strictly just The Chosen.
The Chosen, I'm going to tell you right now, for those people who don't want to physically read or don't understand the Bible reading-wise, The Chosen is the best series out there about Jesus and his walk of life and what he has done for so many people that it is just mind-blowing amazing.
And it's also easy to watch. Like, I'm a very busy person. And this past week, I think last time we recorded, or last time we did a live, which was, last Wednesday?
Yeah.
No, last Tuesday, I think. I had only watched episode 1. Since then, I finished the whole first season and started the second season. It's only about 8 episodes per season. And let me tell you,
it's amazing because it takes things that you will read, and if you do read the Bible, like I have read the Bible many times, and I still read the Bible, it takes stuff that you read in the Bible and it puts into a content of visual. But it don't put in a visual where, like, you read a book, say, Stephen King, Christine, the book is awesome, and you watch the movie and the movie's like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It puts it into a new perspective where you're like, wow, that makes full sense.
Yeah.
That just totally made 100% sense to me now.
What
happened right there.
I will make sure at least about a week in advance we'll let you know, Judy. We'll mention that one. When we decide to do it, we'll make sure we plan that topic ahead of time.
If we're gonna do a series on The Chosen, maybe I can see if we can get the creator of The Chosen as first guest.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think that'd be cool. I was thinking about doing something like that.
I think that would be good. Either the creator or one of the actors who play Jesus or disciple or something like that as a special guest on the show.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll definitely let you know. I think it's probably gonna be semi far out, like probably at least a month away. But we'll definitely let you know plenty of time in advance.
Devin still has to catch up and see the whole episode too.
Whole season two. Yeah.
So the thing is the thing in the Bible of all the things it does, and it even shows. Perfect example is his disciples. Here's the disciples. They watched Jesus do miracles. I mean, literally watched him cure lepers. They watched him raise the dead. They watched him make handicapped people walk. They literally seen him perform miracles beyond beliefs. Yet, they're in a boat with Jesus. And a storm happens and the boat's being brutally beaten by the storm. And Jesus is just sleeping in the boat like no big deal. And they're all like, oh my God, we're going to die. What do we do?
No, I
Here's
think,
where
I
you
think
can
that
have
all
faith.
messed up. I think Jesus stayed back.
No, that's the second time. The first time he was in the boat. And they all panicked. And that's when Jesus went on deck and put his hands up and stopped the storm.
Okay.
And they're all like, how do you do that? And he's like, ye have little faith. Just relax. We're on board. Don't worry about it. Just go with the flow. It's a storm.
Yeah.
The second time was when he stayed back and they all panicking because he wasn't on the boat. And that's when he walked on water. And then Peter got out of it. He told Peter, come to me while he is standing in the water. And Peter got out of the boat and he was standing on the water. He said, come to me. And Peter took a couple steps and then he went in the water. And Jesus caught him and pulled him out and said, ye of little faith. Of all you've seen me do, you don't have faith in me to walk to me on water.
Yeah.
So it even proves in the Bible that even the disciples who actually witnessing all these miracles had their moments of doubt.
Yeah.
The night of Jesus' crucifixion at the Last Supper, or before he got caught at the Last Supper, he told disciples, one of you are going to be the ones that turn me in. There's a traitor amongst us. Yeah. He knew who it was.
Like, you're eating dinner with me right now, and I know who you are.
And everybody's like, oh, no, I would never do that. I would never do that. I'd never do that. Now, guess what? One of them did it. Also,
no spoilers.
Also, when they went back to camp, just before the Roman guards came to get him, he was sitting there talking with Peter. And Peter said, yo, don't worry, Jesus, I would never turn my back on me. And he looked right at Peter and he said, yes, you will. You most certainly will turn your back on me. And Peter was one of the most loyal disciples. And Peter goes, no, I could never. And Jesus says, yeah, you're gonna turn your back on me. And shortly after, when Jesus was captured by the Pharisees, and they questioned him, the disciples were in town trying to see what was going on, and Peter was caught in the church, in the synagogue, trying to listen to what's going on, and somebody witnessed him and said, hey, aren't you one of the people that walk with Jesus? And Peter looked right at the guy and said, no, you must have me mistaken, and walked away. That's what he said, ye of your little faith, you will deny me. Yeah. And then a little bit later, a second bell rang, a first bell rang, is when that one happened, and Jesus said, 3 bells will ring, and you're gonna deny me. And the second bell rang, and it was the same thing, where somebody's like, hey, you walk with that guy Jesus. And he's like, oh, no, I don't. And he booked off, and then there's a third, and then he left the town. Yeah. And later he got back to the camp, and he's like, wow, Jesus was right. I turned my back on him 3 times. Because he's too afraid to be assassinated with Jesus.
As I watched The Chosen, I think it's funny because every character is very different in their own right. And it's funny because I think of it when Jesus is telling Peter that he's going to turn his back on him 3 times, and Peter's like, oh, no, I won't. All I can think of is not mimicking, but like acting like Matthew. Because Matthew's a very particular numbers person. And like numbers are his life. And I can just see Peter going up, don't worry, I'll never turn my back on you. And he's just like, well actually, sitting there doing his thing. They go 3 times to be exact.
Actually, technically 4 because you lost faith on them in the water.
Yeah.
So, throughout the thing is, the disciples themselves lost faith from time to time. There's actually one point where Mary had a little issue, and she ran away from the disciples and Jesus. She went back to her town, and where she was a prostitute and almost going back into her own ways. Because she got scared because something happened while they were on their journey. And she wound up coming to her senses and coming back, and the disciples actually all went to Jesus and said, aren't we going to go hunt her down? Why don't we go find her, save her? And Jesus said, she will save herself. Just give her some space. She'll save herself. Let her live as she needs to live.
Yeah.
And she's gone for several days from the disciples, but she wound up coming back with her head down and apologized to Jesus, and he told her right out, no need to apologize to me. You need to apologize to you.
Yeah.
So there is so much into it that, and that it's, if you can see what the disciples did and how they were big sinners to begin with. Jesus adopted them, he loved them, he took them into his wing, and he followed them through to go on to be great preachers and great teachers. That's what the Bible is all about. A lot of churches, a lot of people like to say, oh, you're a sinner, you're going to hell. No, it's not that easy. Read the Bible. Follow the Bible. The Bible gives us the ins, gives us the way, gives us the light, and gives us direction. It gives you the direction to make it to the everlasting life. But nowhere in the Bible says that you're a sinner, you're condemned to hell.
Yeah.
If you're a sinner, you're allowed to redeem yourself and repent. And it teaches you how to forgive those who sin against you, because you know what? You're a sinner. As a sinner, we cannot blame you for sinning when we sin ourselves. We may not sin the same way, but we're still a sinner. I don't care what you do. Whether you're an adulterer, you're a murderer, you're a thief, you're a liar, you're a procrastinator, you're a sinner. You are sinning. You have no right to judge others for their sins when you sin yourself. Till you become perfect like Jesus, you have no right to judge. There's only one true judge in the world, and that's God, and he teaches you that in the Bible. He did not put us on this earth to judge each other. He put us on this earth to live our lives, to live a holy life, to live a happy life. And then when we die, our bodies die, but our spirits go into our everlasting life of love, peace, and happiness. And it's just a matter of getting there. And the Bible tells us so much on how to do it. There's so much. I found stuff through my everyday life experience where the Bible helped my life. By knowing the Bible, something would come up and it's like, automatically, I should be mad and I'm not mad. And it's like, oh, why ain't I mad? And it's like, you know what? God says this. Or God will do this. So there's times in my life where I don't know where my next meal is coming. Have faith. God will provide. He will give you it. But you need to follow the Bible, and you've got to understand the Bible, and it will teach you how to get to that point. The Bible is the way. It's the guidebook. It's not, the Bible is not the only way to heaven. You don't have to read the Bible or know the Bible to get to heaven. You can get there without it. But it's a lot easier to have the roadmap, which is the Bible, to get you to where you need to go.
Yeah.
That's what we're all kind of saying. Don't sit there and deny the Bible because you feel, oh, I don't need to read that to get... You don't need to. But it makes your life easier. It's like being thrown in a job that you've never done before, and somebody say, hey, do this, fix that, you got 24 hours to get it done, or you're fired. See ya. Or would you rather say, hey, we're going to have this guy who's a master mechanic show you how to do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot easier if you have somebody who shows you through it than to somebody who throws you into the fire. Because when you're thrown in the fire, chances are 9 out of 10 times you're getting burned.
Yeah.
Why not have the roadmap, the guidebook, the directions to get you to where you gotta go?
Yeah.
So what would you like to do for a comment section?
Comment section, I want a real honest opinion on a 1 to 10 rating. How well do you think you know the Bible? Me, honestly, no lie, I'm probably only about a 4. I've never read the Bible through and through. Every time I've tried, I never really comprehended it. I know some of the Bible stories. You know, I'm not completely dark about the Bible. I know about the Bible. I know some of the stories. Watching The Chosen has made me learn a lot. But I'm not where I should be. I know that.
But believe it or not, there's a lot of other ways. You go on Netflix, there's the Book of John, the Book of Matthew, and the Book of Luke.
Yeah.
That will help you through it too. So there's movies to help you, there's audiobooks, there's many different ways to get to know the Bible. The Bible is many different books. It is very overwhelming.
Even today, for the podcast, we didn't even know there was a book named Micah.
Yeah, I just found that out. But mine, I got a kind of a two-part, I guess.
Okay.
Kind of a question and a kind of a mission, I guess.
Okay.
Or challenge is what I'm trying to think. One part, I want to know how many people out there in our audience are out there who's actually spent time teaching the Bible to others.
That's cool.
To understand.
That's a good one.
Second part of that is I want to challenge somebody or people on here to learn one aspect of the Bible really, really, really good to where you can go out and teach it to others. And I think if we could get enough people to learn just one piece of the Bible and then teach it and then just do another part of the Bible, you get enough of them together and you're going to teach each other the part that you learned. It's a lot easier to learn that way if you have trouble comprehending. Like you have somebody who learned like John 1, have somebody else learn John 2, John 3, or what so forth, and you have a group of like 12 people who learn just a segment of the Bible really, really, really good, and then teach each other. Then guess what? Eventually you all know the Bible excellently.
Yeah.
That being said, I hope you all have a great night.
And don't forget to have faith over fear.